makes it like he's a battered wife anytime I want to talk about my team.
I agree with you.
Fair.
It's all a part of his main character syndrome that no one can feel as bad about their team as he feels about his team, which is just not true.
Bad. I'm fired up. Third most cap room in the league. 2 all-pro tackles returning. I personally feel that they overachieved last year. I truly believe that. And the year before, in some ways, they overachieved because they won 5 games the year before that. I feel that the coach and the quarterback dragged this group along. They were not as good. I thought the wheels were going to fall off multiple times, and they held the line. And I am convinced, like in Jim Harbaugh's soul, they will fix the interior of this line.
At Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience presented by Underdog. We're doing Jeff's team fan rankings of where the fan bases think that their teams are at, from worst to best. This is part 2 of the Super Bowl recap show because we went on a bit too long for that. So, Jeff, the floor is yours. I just want to tell the people to vote in the custies, smash like, and sub to Mayo Media Network. Floor is yours.
Again, so it's always a little difficult to characterize, and I tell you, this year it was a tough ranking. It was tough. And to clarify what Pat said, it is just like fan headspace. And I know that's like a loaded comment, and you're all probably laughing, but it is not a power ranking. And you could be a worse team, but in a better headspace. It's pretty easy to quantify. I don't need to explain that to you. You do have some creases in your brain, and you're above a low-level thinker. Okay? It's not complicated. It's not a power ranking.
So when I put power rankings in the title of this episode, people are going to be very mad at you.
And the people yell at me where we're at regardless, because there's always people in the comments who think it's a power ranking. And I get if you think it's a power ranking, it's disturbing.
And I've seen fans be mad at Jeff before. We were at the President's Cup, and people were questioning his thoughts on where the Chargers were going to be. He was not happy.
I'm enjoying a day of golf. Don't I'm happy to talk Chargers football, but don't just shit think you're gonna be my friend by shitting on Justin Herbert for 5 minutes. This happened. I got accosted at my kid's school.
What?
I've told you this before. It's like parent-teacher interview, and some guy just stops me and then just rips on Justin Herbert for 3 minutes and thinks we're gonna be pals.
I don't think you ever told me this.
I didn't like it.
So what you're saying is that you can't be negged into a friendship. The game wouldn't work on you.
Paul, you can give me a false, but don't come up to me and then just use this opportunity to get all your shitty Herbert material out. And the MVP vote I didn't really appreciate, because that just turned the internet into why Justin Herbert's faults, which he's not perfect. He has them, and that's obvious. And the MVP vote was egregious. Even I could say that. Are we ready?
Yeah, it looks like Seattle and Vegas are getting their NBA. Or Seattle's getting its NBA team back.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I knew Vegas. I didn't know who owns Vegas. Is it Shaq or LeBron? Because apparently there's a bidding war going on.
I have no idea. I just saw that they're voting on it this summer, which means if they're now voting on it, it's probably going to happen. They want that extra money.
Yeah, you don't have the votes unless you have the votes.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a war between a Shaq ownership group and a LeBron ownership group to get the Vegas team.
Well, I don't know who owns Seattle. I think the city of Seattle, because they bought the rights to the Supersonics and the Supersonics history. The Thunder history isn't the Supersonics.
It's like the
history.
Browns moving to Baltimore and Cleveland retaining all Browns history.
Correct.
But it's this big thing that we always see our friend Hustler and Remus complain about, that the NHL won't give the Jets their old history. That Utah walks around with Jets records now, and the chain of events.
At least they're not walking around wearing the team's jerseys the way the Avalanche wear Nordique stuff sometimes. Like that's like an extra pain.
I hate that.
I don't like that.
I like
I'm
seeing the
torn
Nordiques
because
jerseys.
I do too, but like I don't like. If I were a Nordiques fan, it would like cut me to the quick to see it.
we in Carolina rock those Hartford Whaler jerseys.
I don't like it.
You say that. You can go into my dad is staying here, so you can go ask my dad. Big Nordiques fan, loves the Avalanche.
I mean, I respect following the team from one place to another, but like feel like if you're going to a new city, you should have a new identity, unless you're going to still be like the Nordiques. Like it's perfectly fine if like the Raiders go from Los Angeles to Oakland to Las Vegas and they're the Raiders all the way through. That's fine. But like when you've got a new name, a new identity, a new everything, you don't go around as the Nordiques. I think that's.
What if they were the Denver Nordiques?
How much more will the Seahawks go for on the market than the new Seattle basketball team? Because aren't the Seahawks being sold this week?
They said they're going to be
this week. They've just got us. The league is finally making them come through with the Paul Allen will. They let them off the hook for a few years because in their lease they would have had to like give, I think like Seattle, the state, like a percentage of the sale. But that's why the league like didn't force the sale immediately.
Okay.
But yeah, Jody Allen's gonna get like over $8 billion for her brother's football team.
I would say that outside of maybe Boston and the Lakers, that every NFL team is probably worth more than NBA teams. And NBA
maybe
teams
the
are worth
Knicks as well.
What's that?
Maybe the Knicks too.
Yeah, the Knicks probably. I mean, the Clippers sold for an outrageous amount of money.
$2 billion, and that was like 10 years ago.
That was like the
Bomber. Yeah.
It also depends on what you own as well. Like, apparently, the Golden State Warriors are the second most valuable franchise.
Well, like Bezos owns the hockey team in Seattle. So like Bezos could just buy, it would make sense if Bezos just bought the basketball team and the football team.
But doesn't he own part of Washington?
I don't know if he owns part of the Commanders.
Would the NFL let him own the team like as a rights holder? I guess that's a way smaller conflict of interest than Brady, but like as a rights holder, he might already have his NFL pie. If he wants a team, he'll buy the team, but he might not anymore.
So Golden State is number 2 because like if you own your own stadium, the stadium itself is worth $5 billion. So like there's that part. Like it's different when you start evaluating franchises. Like the Knicks own basically Penn Station, don't they? They own Madison Square Garden.
They do, and like I think Bezos owns Key Arena in Seattle, where the hockey team plays.
It would make sense.
It would make sense if he bought the basketball team too, given that they're going to play, I'm sure, at the same place, at least for a while.
Like right now, the Cowboys and the Rams are the 2 most valuable franchises.
Makes sense.
So you own SoFi Center, which is a $5 billion stadium. It's going to enhance the value.
And if you own the Dallas Cowboys, the IP alone is worth $5 billion.
Sure, but the stadium is also worth a ton,
and you own
too.
that stadium. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jeff. We have stepped on your rankings. Start 32.
So this might be a surprise, but I crowdsourced it out the ass. And this is from, people with, hardcores from different subsets of my life, and there's just nothing positive to say. And you might be shocked, but the couple teams in front, like I can say 1 or 2 nice things. I got nothing nice. And the future is bleak. And they have to start the gut. And it is the Miami Dolphins. I don't know a fan who's got a single nice thing to say. They have made one good move in 5 years, and that was trading for Tariq. Like, as an organization, everything they've done roster-wise is, for the most part, essentially backfired. They're in a horrible cap situation. They have to, start their gutting. There are teams in front of them who are already gutted, I guess. I don't know a Dolphin fan with anything nice to say. I can think of 1 or 2 things nice about the teams up front.
I can't think of a Dolphins fan I've met over the last 15 years that has ever had anything nice to say about the Dolphins.
I'll counter this a little.
It wouldn't be who I would put at 32.
I think that Dolphins fans, if I was a Dolphins fan, I would feel better about the Dolphins going into next season than I did going into this season, because they've actually now said, we're blowing it up. We're not just continuing to patch together a team whose maximum wins is 9.
New coach, new quarterback.
Yeah, it's over. That's over. That wasn't going to work. We've moved on. So at least it's almost like you with the Jets right now, where you feel better about the Jets because they traded Sauce and they got picks. They have this war chest of picks that they're not going to be good next year, although you kind of insinuated that they're going to win the division.
They're not.
But
Listen,
maybe
we
2
can
years they
keep-
could be okay.
Yeah.
We can keep digging, and you can say, like, I'll name a team and 2 teams from now, and you can tell me why the Dolphins are better than that. But, we'll
So
we'll
hit me.
try.
So do the whole
There's
loser
going to be
tier.
mistakes here. This is far from perfect. And this is no easy task, and there's a lot of scribbles all over the page. And I just hope I didn't miss a team with all the scribbles.
So give us the whole tier of the loser teams.
So at the bottom, next at 31, I would have the Cleveland Browns. Their fans are just broken. They hired a coach that, is sort of an uninspiring coach. It seems like their starting quarterback next year is going to be Shador Sanders or Deshaun Watson, but they've got some draft capital. They've got some draft capital ahead, and that's really the only thing in some ways that keeps them, that would keep them above the Dolphins, and they're not in as bad of they're above. Sorry, they've got a little bit of cap room, but not much for how bad their team is. But yeah, they're 31.
I would have them dead last.
I would not, but I would have had them in the loser tier. We're not yet to my team.
Like going into the year with Shador as your quarterback it's
pretty distressing.
Sad.
It's pretty distressing.
Yeah,
Sad
but
stuff.
I
He's a
don't
Pro
think
Bowler.
it's. Yeah,
Because
they've just got a little bit more draft capital and a bit better cap space, and I don't think anyone hopes that Shador's the long-term answer there. But I guess if you're a Browns fan, the simple thought of that might be enough to make them last. If you want to say they're last, I'm not going to really argue at all. I know who Tim thinks is last, but I disagree.
Okay, who's next?
Next would be, shockingly enough, not even you yet, Tim. It is the Arizona Cardinals.
This would have been
They
my
were
last place team.
originally probably would have been last for me, but I'm going to just give them a couple outs. They had just such a historically, maybe on a historical level, injury situation last year that they might not be as bad. That being said, in our last episode, we might have had a conversation that the 3 best coaches in football are in their division. There's a competitive situation in their division. And right now, you could argue they're the most hopeless team in the conference. A clear case for this to be number 32. Maybe on my first rendition, they were 32. But, the injury situation last year almost makes it impossible to truly gauge what's going on there. That's really the only positive. The owner's really cheap. They're like the Bengals of the NFC in terms of ownership. And the division is a problem. But, they got over 40 million in cap room, and that's something that the other team that you had at the bottom doesn't.
I heard cap room doesn't mean anything. I heard that on the last show.
It doesn't solve all your problems, that's for sure.
Are those the only
You had them last, Tim?
I would have had them last because of the context they find themselves in. Like, the other 3 teams are not just super talented and have amazing coaches. They all have established quarterbacks. The Cardinals don't have a quarterback. They hired a coach that nobody saw really coming, and it's pretty uninspiring. They don't. I just don't see a lot of bright spots for Arizona over the next few years. In a way that the Browns did hire a new coach. They still have a super amount of talent on the defensive side of the ball. If they could get lucky with a quarterback in the next year or two, maybe the Browns, the Dolphins. You talked about the Cardinals, and I think maybe the Steelers. Those are the teams where things are just bleak. If I were them,
are the Steelers a part of this tier for you, Jeff?
What's funny is I guess maybe they should, because I would have had them a bit different, but they're the first pick out of this. So we'll wrap up the tier by me saying part of the Dolphin calculus was an MVP level quarterback established in the division alongside Josh Allen, who's not like that. A guy who almost won the MVP isn't even the best quarterback in the division. But the Jets would end up in 29 here. And the simple fact that they edge out the ones in front of them is the cap room. And I'm guessing everyone just knows it's a lame duck year. I mean, by cap room, they do have a lot of cap room. So I wouldn't overspend this year, but they can make some shrewd pickups that'll still be where they need to be in a couple years potentially. But they pulled off some great trades, and they got a lot of equity. Now, if I'm first overall next year, am I worried? Like a lot of these quarterbacks might tell me to F off, like in terms of, if the ones from like legacy families, that scares the shit out of me. But they're loaded with picks. They can move anywhere they want on the board. You could argue this year they should trade back more and just get more picks. But it starts now. And of all the teams, like, I don't know, they made transactions that the other teams didn't. So that's why they win this. They're ahead of the other ones.
So that's the tier, those 4 teams. Miami.
Well, I had Pittsburgh next, but I guess as Tim, included them.
I would. And,
that's where it's not a power ranking, but it just feels like hopeless. And they know they're in no man's land and they don't trust, they hired Mike McCarthy. So they're going to just try to keep winning as like a veteran team. They're not going to, I don't see them downsizing their veteran load. And it just feels like, for a team that made the playoffs, it's a high ranking, but, their fan base just sort of feels like they're in quicksand, and that's why they're here.
I tend to agree. I don't see where they're going.
Yeah. No, I agree with that ranking of 5. I think I would have the Jets ahead of the Steelers, but like the best of the worst.
The Jets, I can't make them higher because I'm a sucker for everything the Jets have lined up.
Yeah.
It's just like there's just a consistency of failure that organizationally you can't have this a lot of draft picks are, it's luck of it, but like their fans don't have the inherent trust that they will do it properly.
Correct. There's no disputing that. They've made some good picks over the last couple of years, but they made a lot of bad ones. But having 5 first rounders in the next 2 years is something that no one else who's bad has.
So give me the entire next tier of teams, Jeff.
So this next group, maybe I could dry it out longer, but it's 3 teams that won a lot of games, but they're at the back. They're behind teams that certainly won a lot less games, but I don't know how their fans could feel great right now. At 27, I would have the Colts. I mean, just what a headspace. You don't even have your draft capital anymore. The quarterback that you thought was the quarterback is now hurt. So you're like just back to where you were. In the end, you kind of didn't make much progress. We always knew JT was awesome, but now they don't have any draft capital. Chris Ballard still being there reminds me of like the 13 years we gave Telesco without winning anything. There's always a pick every couple years that's like really good or good enough to save his job. But in the end, what are we doing? Where are we going? The division, with competency can always maybe feel winnable, but just where they were thinking they were on like trade deadline day to where they found themselves, that's not a fun place. And as a guy who loves his team, my heart hurts.
Okay. Just give us the whole tier of teams first.
I would have the Vikings. I'd have the Vikings right in front. Salary cap.
The whole tier of teams, and then we can go back.
And the Dallas Cowboys.
There we go. Thank you.
So that's 27, 26, 25. The Cowboys, they just feel like they're not good enough. Doesn't matter what they'll do. Their 90-year-old owner cosplays as GM. You can't really trust that they're going to get it right. They lose every negotiation with their own players when they could be proactive. So yeah, Colts, Vikings, Cowboys, a lot of wins for this ranking, but I'm sorry. I feel for them.
Do the Vikings fans get double punish here because Darnold wins the Super Bowl?
Yes, that is part of the cluster expletive they find themselves in.
They just had a better offensive line. A lot of these problems would be solved.
They would solve some of it, but like McCarthy is a big, massive question mark.
He's a huge question mark, but I think it's a bit unfair to say like, hey, like because we
cost the GM his job.
But we saw what happened with Darnold the moment they lost their offensive lineman, and then he turned into a pumpkin. And then they return an offensive line that's absolutely terrible that got 3 quarterbacks hurt this year.
But we all said that Seattle had this awful offensive line.
And they got better. They drafted well. They fixed those problems.
And good coaches can actually coach up players to be better, too.
So you think that Kevin O'Connell is a bad coach?
He's not an offensive line coach. But obviously the Seahawks offensive line coach did a marvelous job this year.
They went out and they drafted good offensive line.
That helps, too.
They didn't draft out little arms guys.
They are $40 million over the salary cap.
Does that matter? I always feel like we talk about this and it doesn't matter whatsoever.
I mean,
No,
it does
I think
eventually.
it
Sooner or later,
not.
it catches up.
Like, has it ever caught up to the Saints?
Well, they've been sort of terrible for like 3 years. So
Yeah,
I think
but-
it sort of is catching up with them now.
But a lot of that's
Yeah,
like
the
bad
Saints-
drafting
the
and
Saints
bad
who have a
quarterbacks.
the Saints, who have a second round pick as their starting quarterback, are over the cap when they should be like 80 million under the cap. So it is catching up to them. They can't be as proactive as teams who take advantage of rookie deals with quarterbacks.
Agreed.
Okay. So that's your tier of it's not the nut low tier. It's kind of like the we suck tier.
It's
Yeah.
it's a bit of a quicksand. I mean, if I had to pick, sorry. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just where I put them.
Dallas is interesting because I think a lot of that has to do with ownership. But on the whole, it doesn't feel like they weren't that bad this year. They were expected to be bad.
Of all the teams you mentioned, they're the one that has like a quarterback who could probably win a Super Bowl.
Agreed.
So that's the one reason I would say
But
of
he's
that
up
group.
there in age, and they pay him $60 million a year.
Yeah.
He's the
No, I
highest
get
paid
it.
player, I think, in the league.
I get
so
it.
anything like for how good he is, he's. I don't want to. I mean, the starting quarterbacks, the value algorithm is a tough one, but it's like, is he the highest paid player in the league? Good.
No, but he won't be the highest paid player in the league once the next big quarterback signs a
I'm
deal.
sure
And
he's
if
got
you
an
have a-
opt-out. He'll screw him again.
And if you
'Cause
have a
he's,
quarterback who's good enough to win a Super Bowl, you can never write a team off completely in a season.
Okay, that's fair, and their fans get to wake up with a chance to win every Sunday because their quarterback's good. And I live with Philip Rivers, so even when the Chargers were 9-point dogs, I'm like, we can win today because he's really good.
A couple of guys who know how to catch the ball and get in the end zone with it.
Yeah, and the defense was better when they had after they made the trades.
And bringing in Quinn and Williams had made them better.
Made them better. And then guys started to get hurt. Like they have no secondary.
No,
And maybe this is a misrank. They do have an extra draft pick too, but another one, $30 million over the cap, so they don't budget properly at all.
And they're about to pay Pickens on the franchise tag a huge amount of money.
Absolutely. It seems like one of those situations where they're going to have to get lucky with 2 or 3 guys. A lot like the Rams did last year when all of a sudden they just showed up with the defense again. It's like, this defense was supposed to be terrible, but these 2 rookies that we drafted are great.
I'm not sure why. Maybe they're the next team in Jeff's ranks. Like, what is different between Dallas and Cincinnati that would warrant one having Dallas down here and Cincinnati not here? They seem like reverse images of one another, like the AFC version of one another. So why? Maybe the Bengals are like the next team in your next list. I don't know, but like if I were a Bengals fan, I would feel like I were a Cowboys fan.
Well,
The Bengals are a tough one. There, I mean, you're obviously more down on Burrow than most people.
But just like they have a really good quarterback, they have 2 really good pass catchers. Their defense is much worse than Dallas's defense. Their ownership is far stingier than Dallas. Like, what makes you more bullish on them than Dallas as a fan base?
Just if you're a Bengals fan, you can still be like the unknown of actually getting Burrow to play the games that he doesn't play.
Okay.
I would say that Dallas's defense, weirdly enough, might be closer to being okay than the Bengals defense.
Oh, I completely agree with you.
And Dallas can kind of block. That's the one thing we keep forgetting. And one of the main reasons that Burrow keeps getting hurt is because he has no offensive line, and they refuse to address it.
Yeah, I mean, the counter would be the Bengals are in the AFC, which is the much weaker conference.
Yes.
That would be a plus for them. But if you look at the
Bengals
NFC, like,
are
other
in-
than the
are in-
Cardinals, everybody's got a chance.
You make a fair point, but the Bengals aren't. They're sooner than they're soon, pretty soon.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so you have the next tier of teams, reel them off.
Okay, let's go. The next tier of teams would be Atlanta at 24, the Saints at 23, the Bengals at 22, and then I guess I'll do these next ones together, but 21 and 20 is the Titans, then the Raiders.
Okay.
Why are the Raiders ahead of Tennessee?
That was tough. That was because just in the Mendoza eval alone, anyone who's like in on this stuff seems to be like more than confident that no way Mendoza goes ahead of the Caleb May Daniels. He probably goes in that next group. But the tougher question that I've seen different answers on from draft people I trust is the Mendoza Cam Ward. And I would just say, we saw Cam Ward. I'm super excited about Cam Ward. I really like what's there, but like the unknown of Mendoza gives them just a bit of that edge, like just the unknown. Maybe he'll like be more ready quicker than Cam Ward appeared to be. But that's why those are there. The Bengals, we kind of spoke about. That was a tough rating. I originally had them as high as 15 and kept pushing them back, mainly because even if you want to get excited as a Bengal fan, Burrow's playing this emo card now. And when you're a Bengal, you're just scared shitless. Like, we're not good enough for anyone as a franchise. And he's just going to be a pretty girl that like leaves. So even if you want to get excited, you just are being tormented by that.
I see in my mind, Tennessee is where Las Vegas hopes to be at the end of next year already.
I kind of agree.
Tennessee is where Vegas hopes to be. Well, what do you mean?
The Raiders haven't
that?
built their staff out yet. And that's the reason I think I would put the Titans ahead of the Raiders.
And having Cam Ward having a year underneath of him. And
but they got Bowers, and they got Bowers.
That's it. That they have one guy, and Genty.
I was going to say Genty, but they got Bowers.
Crosby has said he's not playing anymore for the Raiders, so you're going to lose him.
A ton of picks for him.
Maybe.
It's like a 31-year-old pass rusher. You probably get like
just have first overall. They're going to trust that maybe Brady's a lemon of an owner. I agree. This was a tough one. I knew I wanted them back to back. I'm not splitting hairs. I'm not arguing. I'm not even going to argue.
And there is Clint Kubiak goes from being the Saints OC to the Seattle OC. They win a Super Bowl. Now he's the head coach. We don't know how he's going to be as a head coach.
No, we don't.
They're also in a tough, if the Broncos are great and, Mahomes recovers and the Chargers, their floor is probably high, even if you don't like the Chargers, you probably argue their floor is high. So the Raiders are in a pretty tough spot for the AFC. But that was one that could have gone either way. I'm just going to look at something. The Titans also can't be ignored. Over $100 million in cap. Raiders second most in the league. So there's 1-2 right now on those cap numbers.
They need to hit in the draft versus what they can do in free agency. Like, they need to find blue chip type players that they can build around for the future.
But you could be like the Bears and just overpay a few offensive linemen and you just really.
But
right?
not if you've given me like 6 teams with the unlimited cap space. Like,
I haven't said that. No, there's 32 teams in the league. There's over a $300 million cap. There's a lot of teams that are going to have. This is early too. Guys are going to cut players. Teams are going to.
So it's not going to be like, hey, there's 2 good offensive linemen. They're clearly going to this team because they have lots of cap space. You could just lose out on it.
Yeah, 100%. I see Chargers internet thinks we're just signing the Ravens center. Doesn't work like that. They're going to want to keep them. There's other teams that are going to overpay. Linderbaum, stud. I think I got that right.
I know, from all of the evaluation that I've seen about Mendoza is that he's a one-read merchant. So I trust that evaluation, Jeff, from that guy who watched
I will say Raiders
part
fans
of a game
and
a YouTube video.
Obviously, Raiders fans are excited because, as we're going to see in this offseason, Pat, they're the only team that actually has like a genuine, legit path to like get their quarterback. Everyone else is kind of fucked. They're going to have to play musical chairs with like a Kyler or a Tua, or, find the next Sam, which, hey, good luck to everyone in that quest. So there's so many teams that need a quarterback. The Raiders are the one team that get a walk into one. How good is he? I don't know. In the context of the Titans argument, that's like, I'm paper thin on that. I'm not fighting it. And I'm very bullish, like Tim is, on the Titan outlook.
I think New Orleans is way too low on this list. I think if I was a Saints fan after being shitty for X amount of years, we found a guy in like what round did Shuck get drafted in?
Second. But
He got drafted in
I was
like,
gonna
he looks
ask
like he
Jeff
could be our quarterback.
why the Falcons are below the Saints. Like, I'd be more
Yeah.
excited as a Falcons fan than a Saints fan right now.
If they get their quarterback, it seems like, and Stefanski's any good.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, Stefanski, that offense,
and
and
they almost
Penix
won the
plays all
division
right.
this year.
They did. They
That's
tied
just
for the
more
division.
of like it's a headspace. It's more of like the Saints overachieved, the Falcons underachieved. I really like the offensive staff in Atlanta. I think this James Pierce story, the day I'm making these rankings, putting finishing touches on it, is just disgusting. Like they traded a first round pick that's close to like $90 million in like franchise valued assets that they just like burned on this guy. And there are a lot of people around the draft, even quoted from Tennessee University liaisons. That's the school he went to, saying whoever picks him is going to get fired. And they traded for him. So just a disastrous, just when things could be going good. The funny thing is 2 weeks ago, I'm having a conversation saying, I actually think James Pierce, they're not the draft pick the Rams got. Tim, what number is that?
Pardon me?
The Rams pick. What number is it?
It is one above ours. So I think it's 15 or 14.
That's a Falcon pick?
Yeah, I think it's 15.
Yes. So like the Falcons wouldn't have gotten a better defensive player than James Pierce at 15 in this year's draft. It actually turned out we're like, oh my God, that didn't end up being a doomsday thing. Yeah, but yeah, that's fine. And I don't know, does Atlanta have a quarterback? That's the thing. There's questions there.
If
There's
Stefanski's
another
a good
year,
coach.
they don't know if he's the guy.
Unless there's no talent left. You got Kirk Cousins, who's a million
but if
years
he's good,
old.
he can get Penix where he needs to
Penix
be.
might not be good.
If Stefanski's as good a coach as he has been with Cleveland, like why can't he do?
Because we've seen this with him in Cleveland. Like if you give him, I wouldn't even say an overwhelming amount of talent, but like stable talent. I think that there's a chance that Stefanski could run a better offense with Cousins than Penix if Penix isn't up to snuff.
Well, but
and
Cousins
there's no
is
way
gone.
that
we saw it with Flacco, right? We saw
Baker.
There's no way the Falcons should be behind the Saints. Saints, like, think of how a Falcon fan felt the day the season ended versus how a Saints fan felt. To Pat's point, maybe the Saints are too high, but again, I mentioned they have this second round quarterback, and normally if a team hits on a second round quarterback, they should have $80 million in cap room, not still over the cap because they're still paying for the sins of a previous life.
Plus,
But every team in that division, because you're in that division, your fan base can go into next year like, okay, let's have some fun.
plus Derek Carr's coming back apparently, unretiring.
really.
But I was
To
reading
play for
today-
who?
Who knows? Well, New Orleans has him on their contract. Maybe they'll let him go.
I think if you know what, Derek, we'll work it out that we don't have to pay you anymore, and you can just play for whoever you want to. How old is Derek Carr?
36, 37, something like that.
34?
I would take Derek Carr for a year.
Max Crosby's only 28?
Yeah, I know.
Really?
I would take Derek Carr on the Jets for a season.
Would you rather him or Tua?
It just doesn't matter.
So
Like,
Tua.
honestly, it doesn't matter.
Just to
give,
pick one.
give me either or.
Why
I guess.
why can't you pick one when I ask you this guy or this guy?
I guess
question?
give me Carr just because I think Tua is just damaged goods, and I don't like the left-hander having to switch the offensive line around.
It's winter and it's cold. At least where I'm at. And I'm spending way more time indoors, aka I'm sleeping more. If you're like me, it's time to upgrade your sleep and switch to Helix. You'll never go back. I took the Helix sleep quiz. It matched me to the right mattress for how I actually sleep, not how some showroom goober thinks I sleep. And since it's been all restful nights, no tossing, no back pain, and my sleep tracking actually backs that up. My deep sleep numbers off the charts, good, way better than before. We've got more than just one Helix in our house now, too. Just threw one in the upcoming baby's room so I can get back to sleep quickly the moment that the baby goes down. Helix builds mattresses for different people, not a one-size-fits-all nonsense, because that wouldn't make any sense. There's free shipping in the United States and a 120-night sleep trial with a limited lifetime warranty. Go to helixsleep.com/mayo for 27% off, site-wide exclusive for listeners of the Pat Mayo Experience. That's helixsleep.com/mayo. Do it now! Using a VPN is like wearing pants online. All your activity is encrypted and private, hidden from trackers, snoopers, and data brokers. That is why you need Surfshark. Surfshark can help you avoid dynamic pricing by connecting to cheaper locations to save money on everything from flight tickets to hotel bookings. You can change your virtual location to safely stream content from home or unlock regional shows and movies that might be restricted in your current country. With Surfshark, fast connection speeds are guaranteed across their extensive network of servers in 100+ countries. And the Clean Web ad blocker is an efficient feature that blocks annoying ad trackers and malware before they even load, resulting in a faster, cleaner, and safer browsing experience. Secure your privacy with Surfshark. It's completely risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee. Right now, go to surfshark.deal/PatMayo and use my code, PatMayo, for 4 extra months at checkout. That link and code are in the show notes and description. All right, next tier of teams, Jeff.
Okay, so batting leadoff at that next spot is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, followed by the New York Giants. I guess we'll just go, we'll run through the gamut here. Packers, and then I had the Lions.
What does that get us to? What are the Lions at number?
The Lions, that should be 16.
Okay.
I think the Giants are way too low here. I think if I was a Giants fan, like this would be the most hopeful I've felt in.
This team is such.
But did I name a team? Like, why? Even if you're hopeful, you're more hopeful than like Packers fans.
I mean, I would feel better about than Lions fan. Like the Lions that I saw this year, it's like, I think that this might be.
No, that's
we peaked.
Maybe, but maybe not. I don't think so.
I totally agree that Lion fans are scared shitless that they did miss a window. Jared Goff sucks. And they were merchants of Ben Johnson. I totally agree. And yeah, there's a lot of excitement with the Giants fans. With the Lions, how do I put this? They're still like 14-1. That's probably an unfair number. And I don't reference Super Bowl odds at all, really, when I do this. But they still have such a low enough to win the Super Bowl odd that I still felt that their fans will like come around to like want vengeance from this last year and not feel like dead fish. You could argue the Giants should be higher.
Yeah, see, I will. I will say that the Giants, even if they run everything back, and they could be terrible this year, and then at the end of next year, they're back in the nut low tier all of a sudden. But you have Dart coming off a good year. You get Scatterbo back. You get Neighbors back. You have this high pick. You have a brand new coach. Everything that you would want is there for you. And they've lost a lot of really close games against good teams last year. That if something was going to flip, that you would feel like you could be that team. Whether or not they are that team, I don't know. But if I was a fan of that team, that's what I would be feeling right now. I'd be feeling very positive about the Giants for the first time in a very long time.
I agree that they definitely are feeling better than they have felt in a long time. Arrows up. They should be feeling right. But just based on like what the actual odds are for like the Lions and Packers to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I would say, I don't think that should factor into it at all. Like as a part of this tier, it doesn't make sense to me. Like why the Giants would be with Detroit, Green Bay, and Tampa.
Well, that's
three
not
like
all,
middling
not all
NFC
the rankings
teams.
are going to end up with teams in the same sort of situation.
But like those three teams are in the same sort of similar situation.
I agree,
and the Giants just aren't.
The Giants came up, and that's fine. Like maybe they should be more excited.
Give us a rant about the Giants here. What is it that you don't like about the Giants?
Seems to have taken crazy pills and seem to think that this team, which has a quarterback who played a few good games, a running back who's coming off a big injury, a receiver is coming off a big injury, a coach who hasn't been a successful playoff coach in like well over a decade, in a division that has 3 better quarterbacks than they do by far, are somehow going to like springboard to any sort of success. I don't see it.
So,
I think this team is this is going to be a very hyped team next year. This team is all sizzle. It's no steak.
But them being a hype team plays exactly into
fans,
what Jeff said. Like, isn't this a part of Jeff's rankings? Like, they're going to be hype.
I guess if you're a rabid fan, sure. But like,
last year, the Jets hired Aaron Glenn and signed Justin Fields, and you proclaimed they were going to win 14 games and they were the greatest show on turf 2.0.
Talked about who takes who out of context here.
That's not a part of this show, for one, and that is exactly what you said.
No,
so you don't like being quoted back to yourself,
not,
is what we're figuring out.
Not exactly what I said.
But think about how you felt about the Jets in a way worse situation than the Giants are in.
I think the rational fan base should have a little bit more of a tempered expectation. That like 6
I
wins
am
next
sort
year
of on Tim's. I like their fans are excited, obviously, but I think that they're the situation. I see it more like Tim sees it. So there's a bit of cold water there, but they have stability in the coaching staff and a potential quarterback of the future. Maybe that's just enough that they should have been higher. I again, this year was so tough for me that I'm not dying on the hill of any of this.
Okay. Next year, then.
Anyone else here? I guess the Packers, their fan base like hates a really good head coach. Parsons won't even be there for a bit into the year. So they were a tough team to rank. Packers and Lions I actually found, Pat, just to say, that maybe the two hardest teams to rank.
See, Tampa, I feel like the entire NFC South should just be in a tier on.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Carolina isn't here. Like, if I were a Panthers fan, I'd be less optimistic than if I were a Buccaneers fan.
No, I think it was just with Tampa with Todd Bowles still there. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Tampa's just a better team, and I think if I were
Did I not say Tampa?
Yeah, you didn't say Carolina yet.
Yeah, I think Carolina.
I didn't say Carolina. Carolina's next, ironically enough.
I think if I were a Tampa fan, I'd be more excited about the future than a Carolina fan.
I don't know about that.
I would. I think you still have that massive, massive question mark at quarterback, and now he's on a 5th-year like team option, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I think he's probably not the solution, but maybe I'm going to have to pay him anyway.
But you're running
like I don't know. The Panthers are staring headlong into a potential thicket of disaster, and if I were a Panthers fan, I'd be really nervous about that.
Maybe, but I just sort of look at it like, where were they? They thought they were in for like an era of hell, like after week 3 a year ago.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
But also, Carolina is constructed in such a way that, let's say Bryce is like good but not bad, and they make the. Like, I wouldn't give. It was almost like the Tua situation where if you give this guy a lot of money, you're going to be bad in the future. But let's say he has a mediocre year. At the end of the year, he's gone, or they just bring in Kyler Murray to be their starter this year. Then you'd feel pretty. Like, it's a situation where you could drop a reasonable quarterback into, and I feel like the team would be pretty good.
Until I have that cloud of uncertainty lifted one way or the other, I would not be super excited.
Listen, Tampa's
the
their
opposite
last
now.
year at Bulls, and then they're going to hire Mike McDaniel to be their next head coach. Panther fans just feel like they can trust the operation. And maybe I can say that. I'm allowed to. I have a bias, obviously, because I think the people who are there are quite bright. But hey, Canales and those guys, they got a playoff rep this year.
Yeah, that's true.
And Tampa really gagged away.
Oh, totally.
The division here.
Totally.
And you just have to. You're not doing anything with Todd Bowles at this point. What's he doing?
And,
for
no,
and doesn't Tampa feel like there's going to be a big veteran turnover soon, like Winfield, Vita Vea, the receivers?
Evans, yeah.
I mean, I know they've replenished with some nice drafting at receiver, but it does feel like that there's a bit of a guard. They're going to be perfectly situated, like we saw Minnesota sort of ride a good veteran line and play it perfectly for quite a bit. But yeah, so we'll see how well they balance that. But I don't know. Most Bucs fans like hate their coach.
I get it.
Do you think Bryce Young is more likely to be Tua or more likely to be Trevor Lawrence from this year?
Tua.
Well, they're not going to pay. They might give him an option, but they're not going to extend him like Tua did.
I can't imagine. I just can't imagine it.
Teams do stupid things.
He'd have to have a pretty remarkable. He'd have to have a
Not-
pretty remarkable season. Like if he had a Tua leading the league in passing yards the way Tua did, I think their hands might be tied at that point, and that's a disaster. But
I don't think we need to worry about that.
I don't think we do either. But then I would have said that the year before Tua had the passing title too. So
Yeah, what if he makes the playoffs twice in a row?
Even then you're like, man, with a good quarterback, maybe we could win a Super Bowl.
yeah, well, makes it the playoffs at what? If they make it
Then
at
once you
8
have
and
to
9
pay
again,
him, that changes the calculus. You just look for the shitty guy you don't have to pay.
yeah. But I feel like that the front office's hand might get forced in a way that would be very unfortunate. And if I was a fan, I'd be anxious about that until like decisions are actually made. That's me though.
Why would you be more optimistic if you were Detroit than Green Bay?
Because Detroit is going to have a 4th place schedule next year. They still have the core of a really good football team.
Yeah, but-
Most of their best players are actually still quite young. And I still think Dan Campbell's a pretty darn good coach. And they're going to bring in another offensive coordinator. And I think the Lions could just as easily be 13-4 next year as 8-9. If I were the Lions, the window is closing. It isn't yet closed.
Without
I
Ben,
think they got at least one more good run. There were games this year, like they scored 52 points against the Bears.
They have good players and they can run it up, but without Ben Johnson, they're like guiding Jared Goff through this offense. Left to his own devices, he's not very good.
Or it took a year of transition, and a new person will be able. Like Dan Campbell's not going to be calling the plays for the second half of the year. What Jeff was doing there. Anyway,
I'm just scribbling on my notes.
Anyway, if I were the Lions fans, I wouldn't be. If I were a Lions fan, I wouldn't be panicked. I'd be like, okay, we still have another year or so left. I still have like another year left in my window, and I have a fourth place schedule coming into this year, not a first place schedule. So,
and they dealt with injuries on the defensive side of the ball. But Green Bay, they should have beat Chicago. They melted down in round one.
Green Bay has every reason to think
the last year of my window, having accomplished nothing, panicked as fuck.
Yeah, panicked, but still, better than the alternative of having your window completely closed and having no hope. So.
Maybe, but Green Bay seems to like their window isn't closed. If anything, they'll probably be better.
Their window's not closed, but the Lions' window isn't closed yet either. And like they have a super easy schedule compared to everyone else in the division next year. I see reason for hope there.
Feels kind of closed.
I don't think so. Not yet.
They're limited at quarterback, which is the biggest
They're
problem.
no different than they were 2 years ago when they were 15-2 in terms of quarterback talent.
Yeah, but when you have Wunderkid calling plays.
I think that Dan Campbell has proven his capacity to hire coordinators, and he'll hire a good one this year.
I mean,
I think he's earned the right.
He hired two good ones. It worked. They left, and now both their offense and defenses are inconsistent and or bad.
I don't think Aaron Glenn was ever good as a defensive coordinator.
Just
like statistically, he never had like a top 10 defense in Detroit.
But he held together what they needed them to do.
A little bit. They lost their playoff game like 55-24.
So his ability to hire good coordinators that he hired Ben Johnson.
I think on the offensive side,
and Ben Johnson stayed an extra year when he didn't have to.
I think Dan Campbell has earned the benefit of the doubt. And I'm giving it to him.
Listen, he's not getting fired, but if they have a bad year this year, he could be fired.
Or he's at least gets onto the hot seat. But I trusted that they're going to figure it out. I'm not as anxious about them as maybe some people would be.
Like Dan Campbell's basically just fancy Vrabel.
I would take that.
Mm-hmm. Jeff?
Except that he's like super analytical, minded and aggressive. Like you'd rather have Dan Campbell 10 times out of 10.
I would rather have Dan Campbell making the...
Dan Campbell coaches to win football games in the modern NFL. And I think there was like a handful of coaches, willing to be as aggressive and as strategic as he is.
I appreciate the fact that he's willing to lose and be wrong, because I do think that helps him in the long run.
Of course it does.
But
I think he's incredibly smart. I think he's very underrated.
But if he doesn't have his coordinators coaching the actual positions and running the actual schemes, I don't know how.
I think he's got to do a better job hiring some coordinators. But I think you get a year's grace, and if he gets it right then this year, then they're going to be just fine.
And you're not optimistic about the Giants, but you're optimistic about the Lions. That's really.
Why would I be optimistic with the Giants? The Giants don't come in with any. They're not even.
They were just like the second worst team in the league. It feels like things are going to get better.
Maybe they will.
The Jets made a trade at the trade deadline, and you victory lapped the trade deadline victory. And then we're so fired up for how good they're going to be in 2 years.
5 first-round picks. 5.
But they have nothing in place.
No, but they got those picks.
But the Giants have 3 of the first-round picks playing on their team already.
Two of those guys coming off of severe injuries.
And they're going to be okay.
Maybe. And a coach who's probably past his prime.
Hold on. What was the last debilitating injury that you remember?
I don't know.
To like a first or second year guy, they never played again.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying it's going to take some time to get up and running at speed.
I mean, Neighbors been out like a year, hasn't he?
Just saying, you come off an injury like that, you just can't.
That was a week 4 injury.
It's still dumb paint by numbers analysis to say, oh, he'll be fine, don't worry about it. Like more likely than not, it's going to take a little bit of time to catch up.
So how long a time?
I have no earthly idea.
So you have no idea.
And
if he plays in week 1, he's probably going to be healthy.
We have no idea how long it'll take for them to be at that level. Again, there's no way to know. And because there's that big question mark there, you have to move forward in that knowledge.
What do you think, Jeff?
Have to.
I feel like as we're like halfway through pretty much, that the Giants might be my biggest misstep thus far.
Yeah, put them in the Super Bowl, I guess. That's fine.
Oh my, it's
fine. Put them in the Super Bowl.
Debating tactics that's where you go. That's what everyone.
You know who else does this? My 7-year-old. It's exactly the same thing.
Put them in the Super Bowl. They're the greatest team you've ever seen.
Like, fine, I can never do that. That's great. That's fine. I'm never allowed.
It's just personal jealousy with the Giants versus the Jets. We know this is what it is.
It's not personal jealousy.
It is very personal to you.
No, it's not.
because you think you're on the Jets. You think you're a part of the decision-making tree.
Most certainly not.
You take it very seriously, and the Giants just kind of backdoor their way into good players.
Yeah, great players.
So Neighbors isn't good?
Neighbors is a very good player.
And
but he's coming off a serious injury. But he's a
so
very
he'll
good
never
player.
be good again, is your stance.
I didn't say that. It's going to take some time, and it takes time.
Well, how? Like, what is time? You think
I don't know.
Is it going to take 2 years? Is it going to take
Probably
2 weeks?
Probably not, but it's going to take a little time, and you got to be prudential with these sorts of investments.
But if this is a ranking of optimism for the future, the fact that they're going to have a slightly slower start this year, I mean, Christ, what are we doing?
Yeah, they're the greatest team ever. Okay. Fine. I concede my
Won't
point.
Neighbors be like ready at camp?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
probably
you got injured like week 4.
running sub 440s too, probably. Yeah. Okay.
Him and Alt got hurt in the same game. Bullshit.
All right.
Drafted with each other.
Next tier.
Okay. Find ourselves. That was 15 with the Panthers. Washington is 14. Just Washington 14 and the Chiefs are 13.
Okay.
Texans 12, Eagles 11.
I mean, if it's how
Philadelphia should really be 32.
if it's how fan bases feel about their team.
No,
Eagles are way
I
too
tried to like not be the craziest version of the fan base. Washington, I'm sure their fans just feel like a mulligan,
Mhm.
right? The injuries last year. I know they're probably afraid that like they probably think a lot less of their coach this year than last year, but hey, they made every fourth down in the world, and it didn't take, the greatest football observers to sort of key on them as a team that likely were going to regress last year. I know Pat has like mocked my referencing of cap room, but they do have a ton of cap room, 5th most in the league.
They'll sign everybody.
They'll work that, with that rookie contract on the quarterback still there. That's where they are. What do you say about the Chiefs?
They're in neutral. Like you gotta see
their
where
fans can't
Mahomes
be
is.
excited. Like their fans are just gonna be fine. And when the season starts, they'll be ready to prove doubters wrong. Just such a great organization. They are in salary cap hell, but who cares?
It would be a smart idea in a weird way. Like if you want to preserve Mahomes and be good for the next 5 years and maybe take a gap year here.
Not a gap year, but like don't rush him back anytime.
No, but like you can part ways with try to develop some talent.
I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah, fully reset the cap instead
But
of
he's
got to
be on board with that.
Yeah. Well, and it all depends on his injury.
He's got to be on board with that. If he is number one goal in life, and it ought to be, it's like, I need to win this every Super Bowl possible. You need to give me every opportunity to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, well,
every
if
year.
that's the case, then he should be on board with the gap year to replenish the team to give me like
doesn't want to take a year off once every year.
Yeah, but that doesn't work like that. That's not how teams are built. If you go back all in this year, that makes you bad for like the next 7 years again. Well, you're always going to have the same team that lost to Philly.
And I don't know if that's the case. I don't know why you ever retain Andy Reid. He's not a rebuilding coach. He's not a coach you want.
I don't think that they're going to rebuild. I just think that if Mahomes isn't going to be there for 4 weeks, maybe more to start the
probably
season,
4 weeks.
So if it's 4 weeks, maybe Mahomes can get you to a wild card.
Yeah,
but you have so much bloat on your roster. You need to get rid of that bloat, and you need to make the hard slash to be able to, as Jeff said, reset your cap, be able to bring in more people, and then you can still try out some rookies this year so you can come back firing for next year when you might have a better chance of doing it.
Okay.
I mean, I guess that's fully dependent on the progress, the severity of the injury, the rehab, when they think they could actually get him back. But if I'm a Chiefs fan right now, I'm thinking I'm confident in the organization that they would like hold the line, right? Go 3-3, right? Get him back and be just fine for a late season run, that I feel they won't turn down. But maybe what Pat brought up is the prudent thing. The Texans was another.
Hold on. Does anyone remember the name of the guy that was playing quarterback for the Chiefs at the end of the year? Because I don't.
Oh my God.
I don't know his name. Number 19.
Olajuwon?
Yeah, Akeem Olajuwon.
He wore number 19, but I can't remember his name.
I mean, Houston just has to feel terrible. They have CJ Stroud, and they have no trust in him. I don't know why they're so high.
Because
Do you think
their
like a
ceiling is
tier
super,
A-
or their
do you
floor
think-
super low.
do you think like-
high? Sorry.
would it make sense, like, if you are Tua and the Dolphins cut you and say, like, the Chiefs showed even the slightest bit of interest, would you be willing to go there, like, pretty cheap,
No.
making
'Cause
all
they-
that money to get to start, go to Camp Andy Reid and
Oh, for Kansas City. I thought you were talking about Houston. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I think Indianapolis is the perfect destination.
Oh, I think Minnesota keeps talking about how they want to bring in a veteran to challenge McCarthy. That would be an ideal spot for Tua to land.
because you could beat them.
You could, and you get to. O'Connell has proven his capacity to renovate quarterbacks.
I feel like O'Connell might like Kyler more than Tua.
Kyler would be a good spot for them too.
I would
Kyler
rather
McCluskey a
have
lot
Kyler.
more.
That's fine. I'm just saying Tua. There are some spots where it would make sense.
Just Indianapolis seems like the perfect destination for him. He can go start until Daniel Jones is ready. Maybe he could be good in that offense. With Houston, I don't even think CJ Stroud's the problem. I think their offensive line is so bad. And we just saw what happens to quarterbacks who were good at one point, have looked good, and then they have no time to do anything anymore. They turn into what Drake May looked like in the Super Bowl. That's what CJ Stroud looked like all year long.
Was Tunsil good and healthy? I should know.
Tunsil
but-
was on Washington.
I know they traded him. I'm asking, like, their offensive line was horrible.
Yeah, but offensive lines are built in a certain way that, like, if you have two bad parts of your offensive line, like, you're fucked. It doesn't matter if you have 3 all-pros.
That's true.
Like, they need to completely renovate that offensive line. Like, they could barely run the ball. They couldn't block.
Yeah.
And they lost Nico for a while. And then they lost, Tank Dell's still out. He missed all of last year. He had one of those injuries. The really super severe one. So maybe he ends up coming back, and they have a deep threat back. Like, it feels like they're running up the JV squad at receiver half the time. And then Nico goes down in the playoffs. You can't block. Like, but you have this defense.
You have this defense, but like Jacksonville is a better team than you are.
But
the Titans are building. The Colts have pieces. Like, yeah, if I was the Texans, I wouldn't be excited if I were a Texans fan right now.
If you felt
No.
If you felt good about their front office, you could talk them into being next year's Seattle, or at least a version of Seattle
Maybe.
that, hey, we made 2 really good draft picks and we signed Kyler Murray, and now all of a sudden we're really good.
So Pat is sort of where on the ceiling end of what I was thinking. Their defense feels like it's the equivalent of having Josh Allen.
Sort of, but defense isn't sticky year over year most of the time.
Will
Like,
Anderson feels like he's gonna.
but it's not just Will Anderson, right?
No,
it's
it's not.
Stingley, it's Petrie, it's
Hunter.
Daniil Hunter. It's all of that combined.
Yep.
And then
Shazaz,
one of
Al
those guys
Shazaz.
gets hurt. Hunter's a year older. Like, it's not.
They just need to draft offensive players who play football. They need receivers that you've heard of who in January and December are out there to catch the ball, because they keep signing receivers who don't play. And they're very talented, but they don't play football. They need skill position players on offense. If I was the Texans, I would be drafting nothing but and spending my money on nothing but skill position players, because that is what they are lacking. They have that.
But
They can
their
make a difference.
biggest thing is like a fan base or question is, they have to make a decision on CJ Stroud, and
He's made the playoffs 3 years in a row. There's no decisions. You can't get rid of him.
They made their decision when they didn't bench him at halftime of that playoff game.
You have made your decision. You've thrown your lot in with him.
okay,
I don't
well,
think
then that's why
D'Amico Ryans will go down with CJ Stroud.
Has
now.
to. Yeah, they're tied at the
and
hip.
they,
There's-
that's why they're not higher than I wanted to make them, because there's a couple renditions they were a bit higher than this.
You go to the
'cause I-
playoffs 3 straight years as a quarterback. They don't get.
What I've gathered, though, if I'm a Texans fan, I'd be thinking like league median, to Pat's point, league median QB play and a weapon or two, and we could be Seattle.
Yeah, but you don't get. Yeah, I agree with you. But like, let's say we reverse situations here. Darnold was on a 1-year deal. He left to go play for Houston next year. If they don't improve their offensive line, he's doing no better.
Of course.
Not much better anyway.
You don't think if CJ Stroud has another down year, they could potentially cut him?
Not if they make the
100.
Not if his down year means the playoffs.
When is he up? His contract's up at the end of next year.
He's up
right?
for an extension at the end of next year, as far as
If they go to the playoffs 4 straight years with him as their starting QB, I just don't think there's any precedence in the history of the NFL for you to like cashier that quarterback for somebody else.
Well, yeah,
who you
and
drafted
go
second
pay him
overall.
go pay him new cap money.
It's frustrating that you would have to pay him that
Well,
kind of money, but again, you talk about how sometimes front offices are hamstrung and they don't have
Just
a
happened
choice.
with Tua.
So let's find.
Sometimes you don't have a choice.
Okay, let's play this game just on memory, because we're all on the spot. When that has happened to a team and they've sort of been forced into that extension, can we think of anyone that worked out?
No.
Not particularly,
Off
but
the top of our
Purdy,
head.
maybe.
Maybe.
But I think they were going to sign Purdy either
Yeah,
way.
got
no,
to a Super
Purdy. I
Bowl.
think they want
They wanted Purdy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he'd be the one, and they paid him they paid him as much as me basically for the first few seasons.
Yeah. I don't know if there's, but it just isn't done, Jeff. You're supposed.
I know,
you're,
but
you're
it's
a
also
football
just
historian.
it never works either.
I know, but I feel like it's a Hobson's choice. There's no good option here.
Yeah, but I think we will start to see more GMs at just working off precedent. Like, hey, this doesn't work. Let's move on, reset.
Maybe. I don't see it happening, particularly when you're the
Problem
guy
is,
who
to
drafted him
the
second
other
overall.
point, it's like, who do they get? Who's there?
That's
How
it,
do
right?
they replace him? You know, as much as there's low hanging fruit jokes with him, how do you replace him?
And if you're the GM and you let him go and he's awesome, you know, your job's gone. And guys, like, these are real human beings that don't want to lose their careers and like are not going to make those type of gambles if they're going to lose their career.
If you're the GM, I think you make the bet that, listen, Stroud, if he is kept upright and has a moment to throw, he can be good.
And that's
And
all
we've
you
seen
need.
him be good in those situations. It's been a while.
Well, no,
That's the thing. It's been, if he has a down year this year, that'll be 3 years on the bounce, whether they make the playoffs or not. That'll also be 3 really bad years and brutal playoffs.
I can still see him hitting those deep passes in stride against the Chargers on a Saturday afternoon. A good quarterback, a bad quarterback doesn't do that.
A good quarterback doesn't turn the ball over 5
You know,
times.
I watched
granted.
the tape on those. That one you could give to Bobby Slowick.
All right, what's your next tier of teams?
So we didn't even talk about the Eagles. I guess there's
Yeah.
nothing really to
Eh.
say. Right?
They won the Super Bowl last year.
They're a
Their fans
contender.
hate them.
Yeah, their fans hate them, but they're actually really good, and they could they could win the Super Bowl next year. But their fans would still be miserable.
10 Ravens.
All
Okay.
right, is there more in this tier, or just you doing one at a time now?
Yeah, we'll be quick, one at a time.
Okay.
I think they hired a brilliant coach. I think, you know, they didn't make the playoffs, but the fan base is just happy. I think that Harbaugh's gone, which might be weird. There's an MVP quarterback there, so you can only be so low, even off missing the playoffs. And they still might be they're probably still the class of their division. I truly believe the coach is brilliant. Is he going to be a good head coach? Who knows? But they're trying to replace McDonald that they feel that they fucked up on because they've picked a guy who's done the exact same things. I guess I'll give a couple more here because with context, you could tell me how I got it wrong or who should have been higher than who. 9th, I had the Chargers. 8th, I had the 49ers. 7th, I had the Jags. You could slice it any way you want.
Okay, why aren't the Bills
I was
here
going to say,
yet?
the Bills should probably
Yeah.
be 10. Certainly behind the Ravens.
No,
I'm
see, I
sorry to
disagree. I
say,
think I
If
would
you're
have
a Bills fan, you're like, oh my God, my window actually has closed.
No,
the
I-
other team just has an MVP
They have Josh
caliber.
Allen.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
He's
They
the
got nothing
greatest
else.
show on earth.
They got nothing.
I don't where should they be behind? A Chargers fan is not more excited than a team that has Josh Allen.
I would be.
A
If I were a
49ers
Bills
fan behind that division isn't more excited than a team that gets to go to football games with the best player on earth on their roster. They have
Bills
the
fans
best
don't feel
player
that
on
way.
earth.
Bills fans are terrified, petrified. They're in Lions mode.
But
terrified.
But that's also the default state of they
should be.
The Bills were in terrified mode. Josh
was
Allen
it.
was unstoppable.
This
I
was the
can't
year.
put a team with Josh Allen higher than this.
I don't understand. Josh Allen's terrible.
The
in the playoffs.
roster isn't as bad.
That's
as
okay.
people
That
make
is
it.
a
People
that is a
make it out like
misinformed
it's
statement.
Josh Allen
played great
and
against
make a wish.
So he had a bad game. So he's your quote is he's terrible in the playoffs. Would we like to go reference some stats on Josh Allen's playoff
You
think
think
of at
performance?
those
least
5
3
teams should be
horrific
higher than the
playoff performances.
Bills.
3 horrific playoff.
You would call his Denver performance horrific, and it was pretty
He
good.
cost his team the game.
He really didn't because
He
he
had 4 turnovers. They were all his fault. Yeah, he cost his team the game. And even he had like the cojones to say, "Yeah, I cost my team the game," because he did.
That's what quarterbacks say.
Well, but it's also like leadership is also being honest, and he's honest. He cost
I
his
mean,
team.
listen.
What do you
And
think,
he fired
Josh?
the coach and fans are happy McDermott's gone, so they've gotten
I
a
think
pound
that
of
I
flesh.
cost my team. I don't know why I'm doing a JJ Spawn voice for him.
And
I
Pat,
think
I mean-
I cost my team the game. Yeah, I agree. You cost the team the game. Okay, you cost the team. Look, if I'm a Bills fan, you have nothing on that roster outside of the quarterback.
See, you
and
talk
a good
about
running
it
back.
like it's special that they're Make-A-Wish kids. I disagree. They've got good they've got no.
It's just a bunch of people with Drake May haircuts, isn't it?
No, I just do not understand. The secondary was great. The lines were solid. The running game was solid.
They have a very good offensive line. They have a pretty good defensive line.
They need playmakers.
They need playmakers.
Receivers.
You did not solicit enough Buffalo Bills fans' opinions on this, Jeff.
Who did you solicit?
None, but I'm not out here to make a list. I'm not the one who said I solicited all these opinions.
I mean, I think Jeff actually did. You're just projecting you not liking Buffalo onto this.
Emerson,
if I were a Bills fan,
Emerson isn't more hyped than someone who has Josh Allen.
I disagree. Emerson's more hyped than basically anybody.
Well, he's more hyped than me, and I gave him the edge on that. And the 49ers, it's a shame they're in that division, but they could just think we'll get guys healthy, we'll be fine. I wanted to put the 49ers much lower because I think they're going to they are playing in Australia, and you guys know what I feel about that in terms of, but I wanted to leave Australia out of this thing to be fair and balanced.
I would feel good if I was a Niners fan, knowing that like my two best defensive players are coming back.
Yeah, like I was extremely injured and had a game to win the number 1 seed, in my place, and I only lost by 10 to the Super Bowl champion.
Might be the Bills, I think, are the lowest odds in the conference. So I cannot make them. Like, I get their fans are fucking rattled. I get it, but they're still common sense. They still have Josh Allen. They're going into a new park. And I couldn't make them lower. They're the favorites to win their conference. They're going to be fired. They're going to be foaming from the mouth when the football season is coming. As for the Chargers, listen.
You get your tackles back. There you
go. That look from Tim is, here she is talking about her handbag collection again.
Yes.
But look at me. I got to put makeup on to hide my bruises.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I can't talk about my team. He makes it like he's a battered wife anytime I want to talk about my team.
I agree with you. It's all a part of his main character syndrome that no one can feel as bad about their team as he feels about his team, which is just not true.
Bad. I'm fired up. Third most cap room in the league. 2 all-pro tackles returning. I personally feel that they overachieved last year. I truly believe that. And the year before, in some ways, they overachieved because they won 5 games the year before that. I feel that the coach and the quarterback dragged this group along. They were not as good. I thought the wheels were going to fall off multiple times, and they held the line. And I am convinced, like in Jim Harbaugh's soul, they will fix the interior of this line. It is a life mandate. Okay? And then we're fine. We got a guy who's going to bring some creativity, an elite running game. I don't know a Chargers fan who isn't excited. You don't know any other Chargers fans? Tell me. I don't know. You guys are making faces. We're bringing capri pants in an elite running game, and hopefully can take a bit of a load off Justin to work some magic.
Just the day after the Super Bowl.
It seems like you're now mad that he's happy about his team.
No, I'm not.
My window is now. 3 years right now.
I just don't want to see you get hurt. That's all. I know what it's like.
To get hurt.
You say that, but you're not.
No, it's gonna.
You're not. You're not. I know what it's like.
And so you're the only one who knows what it's like to cheer be disappointed in a football team.
Just trying to give some words from the wise here. I just don't want you to get
Jeff
hurt.
roots for the fucking Chargers.
I don't want to see his heart get broken.
I need more, but I'm nervous that losing Jesse Minter is just like, who's going to create that magic?
Brandon Staley.
He's doing his job in New Orleans. So I am nervous that we're going to regress there because I do feel like we overachieved, but I have such confidence in the front office. They've made great trades. They entered this thing $100 million over the cap, and it went 2 11-win seasons. And they now find themselves nearly $100 million under the cap to officially build this thing in the proper image. God willing, they stay healthy. I might have given, what I would have done for an opportunity healthy at this AFC bracket this year, but hey, that's a loss. That's lost. There's nothing you can do about that. I am confident I will go back to that tournament and maybe better things can happen. But crowdsource any Charger fan. Like, the vibes are up in Charger land despite how the season ended. And I want to ask you guys a question. Do you think it's possible if you miss like a lot of the season or a full season, and then you come back the next season and get first team all pro, do you think you could win comeback player of the year? Because
No.
I'm going to donate the second. I don't even want to be sharing this because I want my 100, 150, 200 to ones. I'm betting both of my tackles to win comeback player of the year because one of them's going to be all pro. One of them's going to be all pro.
Okay.
But I might be getting 2 all pro tackles back next year. Those are 2 handbags.
Well, that means they cancel each other out. There's no chance an offensive lineman wins this award unless he was like tragically stabbed almost to death and then comes back.
I don't know. I would have said that, but then like in the Rose Bowl, the offensive line won MVP. So voters do weird things sometimes. So the offensive line is
Obviously,
great.
like, we don't need to go through who would the favorites be, but I'm just saying, if a player,
Like if Neighbors comes back for even week 3, it's probably him.
Patrick
I'm just
Mahomes.
saying, if a player
or Patrick
misses a
Mahomes.
whole year or like 80% of the year
Joe
and
Burrow
comes back
from
to
all
a
of his
first
injuries.
team all pro, maybe that, like, if that's what it would take. That's a fun argument for the
Well,
summer.
based on where you're at, the Chargers should be number
I was
1
gonna
on
say,
this list.
No.
How
I'm excited, but no, I couldn't put us ahead of Josh Allen. I couldn't even put us ahead of the Jags. I didn't even put us ahead of the 49ers, but I am excited because they're still, I'm worried the floor is going to fall out from the defense. And I'm just, now we're on a losing streak of, one's a game, two's a back-to-back, three's a streak. So now I got to run off all these games in a row. It seems like it's going to be a tough ask. And boys, that schedule is going to be a fucking, not fun. NFC West, not fun. No bueno. But we are going to Buffalo, and my wife tells me we're all going, and I'm bringing my nephew. So I guess I'll be seeing the stadium.
Next tier, Buffalo and who?
Well, Buffalo was 6. So what do
Like
we?
who? We through the rest of the teams, Buffalo, and who's like
This
with
is
the Buffalo
where it
tier.
gets easy. You want the rest of the league? What do you want?
No, like, do you have one team above the, like, we're doing tiers here?
Be Rams.
Well, it's kind of
Bears,
hard to tier
Patriots,
it. Like, we're
Seahawks.
at the top 5 now.
Okay, so Buffalo, like
Buffalo was 6.
yeah,
The Rams, they're
Sure.
5th.
Rams, and then like, are the other teams closer to each other? Are they closer to the Rams? This is how tiers work a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of tier here. I guess the Rams are sort of their own island. Maybe you could have put the Rams with the Bills, but I ran off enough teams there. Just such organizational stability. If you're actually a fan of this team, there's probably no doubt in your mind that even post Matthew Stafford, Les Snead, Sean McVay will figure that out. They're just geniuses. It's a home Super Bowl in LA. Maybe, they won it last time. They're so good. They're so impressive. Just what a goddamn organization. And they have an extra first round pick. Holy shit. But their fans are used to this sort of life. 4th, I guess 3rd and 4th. Well, I don't want to spoil it. So let me give 2 then. Let's go backwards now. Seattle 1. What are you going to talk about? Just look at the drafts. Holy shit. They got cap room now. They're going to sign their players. Oh my God. You're all still waiting for Darnold to turn into a pumpkin. Hasn't happened. Probably won't next year. Could he lose a big game? Of course. Number 2. This was the battle. I'll give you the teams. The Bears, the Pats, the Broncos. The number 2 froth at the mouth. It is the Denver Broncos.
That's who I would have picked too, and I don't think that Chicago should be on this tier.
They're fan. They listen.
I get why they would be excited. Also,
they
if I
won
was a Bears
80%
fan,
of
I
their
would say,
games.
hold on. If I'm a Bears fan, I'm thinking we might have our guy here. We might have our coach. We might have our quarterback. This is great. We also won 21 games this year. The last 2 seconds of a game. This rarely goes well going
they're very
forward.
talented
Again,
division.
almost exactly like what we just said about, I forget what team it was earlier, that is the Patriots are the same way, that they could have a better team next year and just be worse.
Yes.
100%, but that doesn't mean they're not excited to build off what they did. You have to
Sure, but why
understand-
is Jacksonville below them?
Well, Jacksonville's in a horrible cap situation, and
cap,
they've
bad
had
cap.
some sort of nice. They've had some nice moments. Bears fans have been like beaten down so bad that this bit of sunlight feels like more sunlight. So you're right. There's a little more nuance and context to the Bears.
Hasn't Denver been in cap hell for like 3 years?
I don't know. If I were a Denver fan, I feel like I missed my moment. Mahomes got hurt. I got to be the number 1 seed. My great chance at the Super Bowl went by the boards at a home championship game because my quarterback got hurt.
They're so
it's
stable
not
on
going to
both.
get better. It's not going to get better for me. It's only going to get worse. Like this was
That's
such a
listen,
skibbity
for a lot
season.
of
You're not going to have a better one.
Oh, boo.
This ranking isn't based on like who it's going to get better.
If I am a Broncos fan, I feel hollow right now. I feel like this was my it's like that scene from The Wire where he says, "Man, we missed our opportunity."
Listen,
Like,
everyone,
you know, like, this is what
everyone
happened.
in the AFC,
Exactly. We missed our
Tim,
moment.
everyone in the AFC feels like they let an opportunity go.
But
this year.
Denver did the most
Everyone.
in some ways. I mean, they had
And it wasn't even their fault.
they
that
had
their
the
quarterback got hurt.
championship game at home.
But that is also why
and they
they're
let it
number
off the
two.
hook.
They won 14 games with a mid quarterback. That like the program is in full sail, and not to say they'll win more games, but they could be like Bo Nix could be better next year. He can improve. He can limit the
Nix is
stupid.
Sam Darnold.
When it comes to the
Maybe.
Bears, it's just a matter of like everything will get a little bit, will get better. Again, I agree. Like we even mentioned it. They won so many lucky games, but they have just been so tortured that any bit of sunlight feels like the door could be blown open. And we're another year into Ben being able, when you enter a new team, you can't like fix everything. You can only, pick your spots. And now he gets to come in. He gets to, square out some other things with how he wants everything to be in his vision. So yeah, I mean, they're not the 4th best team in the league, but their fans are losing their minds.
I guess the biggest thing would be like, hey, maybe Caleb Williams in 2 years could be the best quarterback in football.
Yeah. They would
That's
have more reason
very
for
much.
Yeah.
And the same way that everyone feels about Drake
Anytime you
May.
finish a year and
Maybe
you
not
feel
today.
like you've got the quarterback and the
not
coach.
today. But
Yeah. In a month.
yeah.
What?
I agree with these. No, just the way that you would feel about, and no one's going to feel that way about Bo Nix.
No.
I was mouthing what you were talking, Jeff, that Sam Darnold and Bo Nix feel like but I think you could win a Super Bowl with Bo Nix as your quarterback, but he would be like probably the lowest tier of quarterback. And I think that Darnold is above him, but like Darnold's also in that same like stratosphere of player as Bo Nix, that
But
you could
better.
do it with him, but he needs the team around him, but he does have the team around him.
Well,
And-
like the quarterbacks who can win a Super Bowl, I feel like the list gets bigger if you tell me like that they get to play behind the best offensive line in the league.
But that's a part of how this type of quarterback, like there's a certain level of quarterback where even with that they're not winning. Jared Stidham ain't doing it.
It's actually crazy that like Seattle and Denver made that trade, and
It worked out for both.
Seattle built that roster with that trade.
Yep.
I think if you're the Bears, you feel pretty good. Like when Ben Johnson came in, their big thing was pre-snap penalties, stuff like that. After the bye week, totally cleaned up. Now the next thing, if Caleb throws 67% next year,
Yeah, the whole Chicago thing is just based on Caleb's actually going to be awesome. Like he's awesome now, but like
MVP can't.
yes,
Yeah.
But like Pat, last year I probably would have had Washington like insanely high, maybe where the Bears are.
I think you did.
And in some ways, the Bears are getting it for the
and the Bears
Kind of-
are
in a-
next year's Washington.
yeah.
Patriots
They won
are.
100%.
Chicago actually fits it more to a T.
I think Ben Johnson's better than Dan Quinn, no?
I agree. And listen, these teams
Dan-
can get better.
Mike Vrabel is more like
Washington
Yeah.
won a game with the Hail Mary. Like everything went their way 2 years ago.
Just like Chicago did this year.
Exactly.
Like the Patriots didn't win games that way. The Patriots like pretty handily beat teams.
Oh.
They just played only shitty teams.
The Patriots had a Big 12 schedule, but they beat the shit out of those teams.
So what you're saying is that New England was Boise State.
Basically. New England was like the year Hawaii made the Sugar Bowl and Georgia beat them 52-0 or whatever it was. Georgia being Seattle in this moment.
Tim,
I like
don't
your list.
where this is going, where like you're when you make those faces, it's because you don't want to see me get hurt.
I don't.
Or it's like, here's this guy gonna say something
No.
nice about the team he loves.
No, look, on more than one occasion now at the gym, I have seen you on TV prostrate on the dugout at the Rogers Center. And like, I don't want to see you get hurt like that.
Yeah, that's Game 7 of the World Series. You're
going to feel this type of pain if your window is open and you don't get home. You're going to feel that type of pain, Jeff.
Tim,
I don't want that for you.
Listen, when you live in the window that's open, that's filled with pain, you think you don't want it, but then you think about the life that you live when you have to come home, when you're afraid to walk in your front door.
Oh, please don't make this analogy again. Please.
You don't want to know what pain is.
Yeah, well, that's a different analogy.
You wanna? Can I end with something crazy?
Yeah, let's do it. We haven't been crazy enough on the show. Let's do this one.
Okay, so I tried. There was just no way for me to workshop this tweet. There was just no right way. Like, there was just no right way.
Well, maybe it doesn't need to be public, like what I sent to you about Drake May.
Yeah, but it's like, see, now I feel like I could say anything. You're just going to run the beep. So, like, there's no point even saying anything.
Go ahead. Maybe it'll pass the censors.
There was just no good way for me to, effective way that I could workshop a tweet that pretty much said, I had wished Michael Rubin showed up in the Epstein emails.
Who's Michael Rubin?
The owner of Fanatics.
He's not in the Epstein files?
Right? You would have thought.
Yeah, he seems like he does seem like a guy who would be in it.
Those
I
shirts,
know, and no, I wish he could get taken
the
down.
shirts that they had to wear yesterday.
Tim, hear me out. Let's do a rankings. The 5 people Fienberg wishes showed up in the Epstein file.
So this could be a part of the special show that you talked about earlier. So we have the 5 people not in the Epstein files that Jeff wishes were in the Epstein files. What was the one from earlier, Jared?
5 biggest lib takes.
No. Jeff had the 5 people. The 5 public people he wishes violence would happen to. Because we were talking about that guy from the Waste Management Open.
Oh.
No one would be like, oh no, someone hit him over the head with a bat? Uh-oh. Oh well. No one likes that guy.
I'd rank the 5 people I wouldn't feel any remorse for if
basically the way you treated the commissioner of golf for 2 years.
I don't have that list. Well, I don't have any of these lists. Not like I have a list of people I want to see that happen to. I don't.
Oh, like you don't take your lipstick out and cross out a name every time someone says something nice to you.
No. Oh.
He's not even feuding with Dave Staley anymore. I don't know what that guy's first name is.
Mike, you know what? What if me and Michael will...
You guys should do a show together. You do an offshoot. I'll fund it. You'll replace Feinbold.
Listen, I guarantee you this, because I follow him on Twitter. I would bet my life he was watching the Turning Point USA halftime.
Yeah, with you probably.
Not a chance. I'm not even the most conservative person on this panel.
It's me. Everyone knows this.
Yes. Jeff,
listen, it's only for tax purposes, okay?
Jeff is
just because I'm more proficient at the internet, it's me, but it's not me.
Reminds me of something. When we finish recording, let me tell you something.
You don't want to get beeped, do you?
I'm reminded of something from yesterday. I don't want to say in the show.
All right, that's fair. Well, that's a good list. If you want to see the overall rankings, they'll be in the description. And remember, those are power rankings of the best teams in football. So let Jeff know what you think about Jeff's power rankings for this show. That was the 2025/2026 NFL season.
And if it's the last one, we had fun. And if not, we'll see you in 7 months when we do the NFC win totals.
Well, we'll see you in 3 weeks when we do free agency or the NFL schedule.
Something. We need to take a little bit of a siesta.
Yeah, Jeff, you have something to say.
Well, no, I mean, this guy went a week telling us that he not going to get excited about the Jets. He's already excited about the Jets.
I'm not excited about them. They're not going to win very many games. They're not going to win that many games.
No one believes your
lies. Well, you know what? A lot would have to change for me to feel differently. A lot.
Like them making a draft pick or signing a player?
No, a lot would have to change.
Well, they have so much cap space. I hear that's big news.
If you have cap space, it's like some of the most equivalent of 3 wins.
Listen, you don't want to free agency's not good for you don't want to be spending frivolously. So
I agree.
yeah, maybe having a lot of cap space is a harm, but Jets fourth most in the league.
That will do it for me. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. We're obviously going to have more shows coming out pretty soon, so stay tuned to the network. Turn on those notifications, sub to the Apple and Spotify. Maybe there's going to be bonus shows that are up there. Who knows? Well, I do, but you don't. So you go subscribe right now because you don't want to miss a second, all right? Vote in the Custies. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!